Good morning, everybody. My name is Darlene, and I have Parkinson's. Just going to do chit chat today. I've been busy for the last few days and whatnot, and I just thought let's just take a break enough and just sit and have a little chat. I was thinking about it. Well, I think about this every year after Christmas. When do other people usually take down their Christmas decorations? I'm the type that Boxing Day, I want them down. My husband always wanted them up till the new year. So we usually compromised, and somewhere in between we got them down. Some people like them up as long as possible. I used to say the house was so twinkly and looking pretty. Then you take them down and your house looks so ordinary and plain. But there's comfort in that ordinary and plain because that's the way it is the rest of the year. So I always enjoyed putting it up fairly early. Always put it up at the very beginning of December. But then the minute Christmas was done, I was the type that took it down. So today it came down. Now it didn't take long to take down because I didn't have a lot up. But I did get mine down. And I'm looking around thinking it's very dull right now. But Claudine for Christmas gave us a beautiful collage, a frame and beautiful collage with lots of pictures in it. And the spot where I had my poinsettia and whatnot is above the television is now very clear and plain. So when she's over next, we're going to get her to help us put that picture up there. So I'll have something else that's beautiful to look at. And so yeah, I was just sort of thinking, I know some people keep them up all the time. Claudine, she likes to have twinkly lights lots of times in the summer even. She thinks that's very pretty. So anyway, I always thought that if it was a clean start for the new year, Mom, my mom, she would always say you should start with clean. I was telling this to Bill this morning. Always start the year with clean bedding. Don't have any laundry in your laundry basket, and make sure last year's bills were all paid. Then she said, and if you could start the year, your first meal of the new year with a bird, that was good. She always wanted a goose. We hated goose. It was greasy and we hated it. But she always tried to push the goose for the new year. But it was one of those things that, she usually ended up with chicken or turkey or something. But she said those other things just set your year up to do right if you had all that stuff done. And she's probably right. There was a lot of years we didn't have the bills paid at the end of the year. We had everything caught up fairly current, but we weren't debt free. But we're doing okay with that now. The other thing I was going to mention is it is cold. Here in Alberta, my television is currently telling me that it's 29 below Celsius. This morning it said 33 below Celsius. There is a bit of a wind. It's not a gale of a wind, but there is a bit of a wind, but it is bitter cold. So people need to plug their cars in and, be prepared for how cold it is. Don't have your little exposed skin out there. It's going to get very cold. The other thing I should mention is I sold my A-Linker. I was mixed feelings about selling it. I will admit that. When I purchased the A-Linker, my family sort of said, Mom, maybe you should take it for a trial test. You can, for $1,000, you could have had it for 3 months and tried it. And then even if you purchased it, you lost that $1,000, then you would be purchasing. But you would have had tried it for that $1,000. And I said, well, if I'm thinking I'm going to use it, then I thought that it would be better just to invest the money. It was $2,800. Invest that money in it. And then if I didn't use it, I could sell it again. So that's what I chose to do. And I really enjoyed using it. But I never was able to fully make use of it because I was declining at a faster rate than I had thought I would. And my balance is very far off. And just trying to get on it became a difficulty for me. So I never did get it outside. I did it in the hallways here and the building and whatnot. But there is other pieces of mobility equipment that would probably be a far better choice for me. So with a heavy heart, we decided to sell it. Now, it's a real niche market for that. It's if you look at it, people would go, well, why would it be expensive like that? There's not even pedals on it or anything. But when you're talking about medical equipment, it gets very costly. And so it was a niche market to find somebody that would want that. And we didn't really put much effort into it. Claudine put it on Facebook and whatnot. And I said to her, I would have already lost the $1,000 had I gone the other route. So I said, if I could get $1,500 out of it, then it would be pretty good. And she said, okay, what's your very bottom line? And I said, very bottom line would be $1,200. And luckily, a young woman who really could use it was very interested in it. She was not having a lot of money. She has MS. She's about 40 years old, and she had been wanting one for a long time but couldn't afford it. And she was very familiar with what the A-Linker was. And you could tell just talking to her that she knew what it was and she really wanted it. So Claudine told her to come out to the house, and Claudine took it. And she said, Mom, she was so happy to get this A-Linker. So Claudine and her befriended one another on Facebook. And Claudine showed me the next day she had taken a picture where she had her Christmas tree up, and she had the E-Linker sitting beside the Christmas tree, and she goes, my best Christmas present ever. And so, I felt very good about letting her have that at a price that she could afford, and it still gave me a little something, and wasn't going to do me any good sitting in my front closet taking room. So in that sense, I felt good about it. But it was a hard moment for me to have to realize that I wasn't going to be able to do that. I'm trying to think that the next thing, because the whole point of it was I could get into the car and have some mobility and whatnot without Claudine having to push me in a wheelchair. So we're thinking there are smaller motorized scooters that aren't great big things that, just they're smaller and whatnot, that possibly would fold up and go into the car easier. And we're going to look into that into the new year, but we'll see. Got a few things we're looking into the new year. I'm just going to take a peek. I don't know if I had a story that I was planning on saying today or not. I should have done that before I turned the camera on. Oh, yes. Oh my goodness. I've been waiting to tell the story. When Khalid was younger, he was a very active child. So he was probably about 10 years old at the time. He was very, very active. A friend of his had a trampoline in their backyard. So the parents all said, we don't mind if the other kids jump on it, but, you have to sign the little waiver thing that you've allowed your kid to jump on the trampoline. And I said, oh, that's not a problem. So anyway, I signed the little waiver thing, and away he went. He went day after day jumping on this trampoline with his friend. Well, one day I see the mother coming up the pathway. She's got holding something in her hand. And she's got Khalid by the other hand. And we come up, and I notice that Khalid's got some blood next to his mouth. So I thought, oh, he's fallen off the trampoline. She says, I brought him home because he has fallen off the trampoline. He's got a little bit of blood in his mouth. But she said, I did gather his teeth. And she had a little baggie with some teeth in it. It's like, I said, I never thought I'd see my son come home with his teeth in a bag. But it was a dentist trip after that to make sure that he was all right. But I mean, kids, these things happen and whatnot. But I laughed at this poor mom thinking she had to bring Khalid home with his teeth in a bag. That was pretty funny. All right, anyway, so that's just a little bit of chit chat for today. And I hope that everybody's staying warm. I hope you're not getting as cold as we are. Vancouver's getting snow. So we'll see what's happening with their weather if they get the roads cleared. And hopefully we warm up a little bit. All right, talk to you all tomorrow.